holidays out there in Kentuckiana. Good having you with us. Hey, give us a call. Workers' comp, Social Security. Maybe you were involved in an accident over the Thanksgiving holiday or some other legal question. Call us right now. We're going to put you on the air live with Karl Truman. 502-276-2118. 502-276-2118. So I know over the Thanksgiving holiday, big talk about all the airport screenings and this and that, and people were going to file suits and people were going to boycott. I took my daughter up to New York to see the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. It was quicker, and I mentioned it, it was easier for me to get through the New York airport than it was Louisville. And Louisville was fine. Louisville does a great job, experienced TSA officers there, but really it didn't sound like there was a lot of bark, but no really bite in the whole situation.
Well, I think it's a few people trying to stir up things. I think the majority of people are in favor of, the screenings, get everybody where they're going safely, and I've always found the TSA people to be very courteous and professional and trying to do their job right. So I have no
Is there a suit if someone's patted down and they're improperly touched? You saw that video about the guy saying don't touch this and that, but is there a suit if someone mistouches or pats down or something, or it's just part of traveling?
It's just part of traveling. I mean, first of all, you don't have to do the pat down. You can do the screening, so you don't have to go through the pat down at all if you just walk into the machine. But then you are subjecting yourself to the pat down. You don't have to subject yourself to it. You don't have to be there at all.
Yeah, I think one thing we need to keep in mind too is people might be complaining now, but if this goes away and something bad happens, they're going to complain that nothing.
Well, that's just it. The TSA is really in a no-win situation. What do? I mean, if someone passes through the screening that they don't catch, and something happens and a plane blows up or crashes, they're going to get blamed for it. But now, they're getting blamed for too much screening. So,
right.
So they're really in a no-win situation.
We're talking to Karl Truman, the injury lawyer. Give us a call right now if you have a personal injury, maybe some type of legal case, especially workers' comp, Social Security, disability. 502-276-2118. I had someone want me to ask you. They went south for Thanksgiving, and they hit it 75 south, and they got in the construction zone. And they're going through it, and the barrels were real close to the road. I don't know if a truck went through and it blew in or what happened, but they hit a barrel and it damaged their car. And they said, it wasn't well lit. They were going slow, below the speed limit. Can they, I think it was in Tennessee or Georgia, can they contact that state and get some type of payback if things weren't set up properly?
Well, the state generally isn't the one that sets those up. Usually it's always a private contractor that the state hires to do the construction. I mean, if there was improper lighting, improper signage, I mean, certainly, it may, if it's just a property damage issue, it may not be worth it to try to go after that type of thing. But certainly I've had cases where, barricades were set up improperly and it was poorly lit, and not proper warning signs, and one client actually ran into a barricade because it was at night and there was no lights or anything, and so it can be a very dangerous situation.
So it needs to be lit, it needs to be reflected. But hey, we're taking your phone calls. Workers' comp, Social Security, disability. Have you been involved in an accident, maybe over the holidays or some other time, and you have questions? 502-276-2118, taking your phone calls.
That's right, and we have Barbara from PRP on the line. Barbara, what's your question or comment?
Yes, I have a son who had been diagnosed with autism, and he also has epilepsy and other types of medical disorders. He has severe ADHD and so forth. My question is, we had in the past tried to apply for disability insurance for him, but found that we were disqualified due to income guidelines. And I was just wondering what that really has to do in guidelines in respect to his disability. And so could somebody please, explain that to me as to what income guidelines has to do with a child having a disability and how that affects the qualifications for determining eligibility for the disability.
Okay, Barbara, we appreciate your call to Louisville Live this morning. Karl?
Yeah, that's a good question. Under Social Security, there's two types of disability benefits. One is called Social Security Disability, and the other one is called SSI, or Supplemental Security Income. The standard to be disabled is the same under both of them as far as being disabled from any type of gainful activity. Under Social Security disability, in order to qualify, you have to have a work history. You have to have earned a certain number of earnings credits or work credits over the past several years to be able to, to qualify. So, but there's no income limit. There's no needs base. It's basically if you have the earnings credits and you're disabled, you can get that. The other type of benefit, but on disability, Social Security disability, if you don't have any work history, then you're not eligible because you don't have that earnings history. Under SSI, Supplemental Security Income, that's a needs-based benefit. You don't have to have had any work history, but they do have an income limit. And so they would look at the family's income and say if you're over the income limit, you may be disabled, but in their eyes, you have too much money, your income, to qualify.
You know, Barbara, one thing I would do if you have more information is contact Karl Truman and his law office, 1-800-ACCIDENT. You could also go to his website and email him. Send him some information. Tell him you called Louisville Live this morning and seek a little bit more information. That might be helpful because I know you're limited with some of your information here, but you never know what, might happen 6 months from now. But I hope that answer helped you. We're taking your phone calls.
And if you have internet access, you can go to ssa.gov, and there's a lot of good information there, too.
Okay, good. We're still taking your phone calls, 276-2118. Also take your emails. We have an email, Carl, from Suzanne in Middletown. Craig, this is a good one.
Yeah, I have several Christmas parties for my family and friends every year. Is there something I should do to protect myself if someone falls in my home or is hurt in some other way? Christmas parties are starting already this weekend and next week. What is the responsibility? I know there's common sense if I go to a party or Becca goes, but what's that fine line?
Sure, and common sense works both ways on both parties. I mean, if you're hosting a party, obviously common sense, meaning that, if you serve alcohol, making sure that nobody, consumes too much, or, if there's things around your house that are a danger, or if you have little kids, if there's kids there, making sure any, dangerous, if you have any weapons at home or, dangerous things put away. So, and then of course, if you're the guest, you have some common sense obligation too.
Right.
So it does work both ways, and, make sure your homeowner's insurance is paid up, so if something does happen, you let them handle it.
Well, the thing that always gets me is that you go to parties, even in public stores or restaurants, the floor on a day like this, today it's raining, it's always wet. It's wet, so you have to use common sense. The restaurant or store needs to do what they can do, but just be careful out there. Everybody's hustle and bustle this time of year.
Yeah, they have an obligation, the store, and obviously the duty of a store, their obligation to look out for people coming in is, as a store has a higher threshold or a higher standard than what's called a social guest.
Gotcha.
Karl Truman is with us every Tuesday here in
Karl.
Louisville Live this morning. For more, we're out of time, but go to 1-800-ACCIDENT or TrumanLaw.com. Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.
He is the injury lawyer.